I do not want to admit how many times I've counted these books, convinced there was one missing, and then remember that the first one's a pre-order. So hello and welcome to today's video. This is my first book haul of the year. These are all of the books that I've got, obtained, purchased, brought into the house in some way in the first 4 months of 2024. I have split them into a few piles. We have a red pile because I have been trying to read the books that I'm bringing in and I'm doing quite good at it. I have a DNF pile, which is only one book, but I will mention it. And I also have a pile of unread books that I can't wait to get to. I have got these both new and used. 66.7% of them were new and 33.3% of them were used. I got 4 books in January, 3 in February, 11 in March and 6 in April. So those are kind of like all the little statsy bits, and let's just get into them. I'm going to do them pile by pile, and first of all I'm going to do the book that I've pre-ordered before I forget it again. So I have pre-ordered a book called Rewitched, which comes out in September. This is by Lucy Wood, who is a YouTuber I've watched for many years, and she's coming out with her own book, so I have pre-ordered it and I am hoping I will get to it in September. It's like a cozy, witchy tale. Don't know much about it. I'm chill. There's a cat. I'm going to give it a go when it comes out in September, and I've pre-ordered it now. Then let's do the DNF first, because I did upload a video 1 week ago which was my book unhaul, so if you've watched that video you will know, but I DNF'd the selected poems of Robert Herrick. This is a book that I purchased in January and tried to read it and did not like it, and will not be getting any other poetry from like this sort of era, especially by men. I DNF'd it basically because it was boring to read, and just the way things were being spoken about was not what I wanted. It was not a good vibe for me, so that has already been on hold. Then I guess let's do books that I've read first. So we've got this pile here of all the books that I've purchased during 2024 and already got to and read. There's no order to these, this is just the order I've pulled them off my bookshelves in. So first of all we have Glow. This is the 4th book in the Plated Prisoner series, that's what it's called. I'm still enjoying the series, but this book took a lot of different turns that I wasn't expecting, so I'm glad I've got it. I've got the paperback version of book 5 pre-ordered, so I'll be able to read that, and I'm just hoping it goes in the direction that I enjoy, because definitely this one was a bit slow and didn't go where I thought it would, so I'm just a bit unsure at the moment. Then we have Honorifics. This is by Cynthia Miller, and this is a lovely little poetry collection that I really enjoyed. I think it's really good. There's quite a few poems that stood out to me. I actually haven't gone back through and tabbed them, I'm realising. Normally I put tabs through the poems that I really like. But yeah, I thought it was good. The poems that stood out to me, the poems that I really liked. A lot of the others I was just kind of like, on. But overall, as a poetry collection, I got something from it, and it definitely made me feel things, which is what I want from a poetry collection. Then I completed a graphic novel duology that I started this year as well. I already owned book 1, but I started it this year and I needed book 2 straight away. And book 2 is Garlic and the Witch. This is the 2nd book in the Garlic and the Vampire duology. In this one we progress the story from book 1. We've got a different little mission, we've got a different thing for Garlic to grow with, and honestly it's just absolutely lovely. Let me find a page where there's definitely no spoilers. This is the sort of art style that you can expect in it. It's very lovely, these muted tones. It's very lovely. I really like it. The vibes, the atmosphere, Garlic. Yeah, it's great. I highly recommend. Cozy, fantasy, following Garlic whilst she goes off on some adventures. Oh, then I also read Gender. So this is actually a book. We will see one more of this collection. This is the Tate collection. I think there's 12 books out that I've done, basically looking into art throughout the years, focused on one thing. This one is focused on gender, and I got this when we went to the Tate. We very recently went to see the Infinity Mirrors exhibition before it closed, and whilst we were there we went to the gift shop and I saw this one, and I ended up reading it on the train home. I really thought it was good. I gave it 5 stars. It was a really solid non-fiction. It set out to do exactly what it needed to do. There were so many things that like really like made me understand. And the nice thing about these, because they are made by the Tate, it will quite frequently talk about the paintings, the art, the sculptures that it's talking about, and in the back it'll tell you what page to go to and you can see exactly what it's talking about when it's discussing these themes. And I thought it did it really well. I was definitely in like an arty headspace. I spent like the whole day like just surrounded by art, and then reading this on the way back. I found it great, really highly enjoyed. Then I've already read Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. This is the second book in the Bright Falls trilogy. The first book is Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and I did read that for part of a reading vlog that I'll link up above. But yeah, I eventually picked up book 2, and oh, actually this will be in a reading vlog. The reading vlog's not out yet, but once it is, I'll link it up here. I enjoyed this. I thought it was good. I thought it was equally as good as Delilah Green. It got 4 stars from me, which, you know, is a really solid, like, the best romance. It still had the annoying things that annoy me about romance. If anyone can recommend me romance that's dual point of view and not second chance, that also doesn't have a miscommunication trope that's just silly put in there, please do, because I feel like that is what's stopping me from giving any of the romances I've tried higher than a 4 star. Then I also decided to pick up Once Upon a Broken Heart. This I decided to get because I finished the Caraval trilogy. I eventually read Finale and I was like, do you know what, like, I am in the mood to keep going with like this world, and this is the first book of the companion trilogy, I guess it's called. But yeah, this is Once Upon a Broken Heart. We follow new characters, but old characters from Caraval pop up, so I can't tell you a thing about this without potential spoilers. Definitely would recommend reading Caraval first if you are considering picking up this one. I know this is a super popular one right now, but I'm definitely, even though I've only read the first one, I'm super glad that I read the Caraval trilogy first, because I'm someone that really doesn't like spoilers, and there's definitely things in this that if I'd have then started reading Caraval afterwards, I'd be like, oh well, this doesn't fit. I know we're going to get here somehow. So yeah, really enjoyed though. Can't tell you anything about it. And then I also got Feybound and read it. This is a book that's been really going around at the moment. I think quite a few special editions made out of it, and we follow an elf. So there are elves and there are fae in this world, and it's an elf going to the Feyland, and it's dual perspective between both sisters that we follow in, and they both have different things going on. They both have different stuff, and honestly it was really good. Like, I really thoroughly enjoyed this. I can't remember what rating I gave it. I think it was probably a 4 or a 4.5. I can't wait for the next book to come out. Unfortunately, I have seen nothing about the next book in this series at all, but fingers crossed I don't have to wait too long. But yeah, I'm really glad I read it, and I'm very interested in reading more from the author because of how much I enjoyed the writing style, and you'll see that later on in the book haul. So I'm going to move those aside. Those are all the books that I've read, and now I'm going to try and pick it up. This pile of books that I have not yet read. I'm going to put them down. Okay, so these are roughly in the order I got them in. I basically got all of my April ones out, then all of my March ones out, then all of February, then all the Jan. So they're roughly in the order that I ended up getting them. So yeah, let's go through them. First of all, I got Out There Screaming. This was my first book purchase of the year, and this is an anthology of new black horror edited by Jordan Peele. There are absolutely loads of authors in this. I will pop them there. You can pause it and read them all if you'd like to. I got this because it is the February pick for the Literary Dead book club. I didn't end up getting to it. I started the first short story and wasn't loving it, and I have not picked it up since. So I am hoping to go back to it at some point when I'm in more of a horror mood. I can see that happening soon because I am currently reading a horror book, so maybe I will get to this one soon. But yeah, I don't know. I also have since realised that it's a bit silly of me to get it because I don't tend to like short story collections where the stories aren't linked or nothing's going on between them. So I don't know, but I've got it and I am still excited to pick it up. We'll see. Then I picked up Nod. This has basically been a book that's been on my list to check out for quite a while. It is horror. It's basically loads of people can't sleep and they need to figure out what's going on. Dawn breaks over Vancouver and no one in the world has slept the night before, or almost no one. A few people, perhaps 1 in 10,000, can still sleep, and they've all shared the same golden dream. After 6 days of absolute sleep deprivation, psychosis will set in. After 4 weeks, the body will die. In the interim, panic ensues and bizarre new world arises in which those previously on the fringes of society take the lead. I'm very intrigued by it, and I saw it in a charity shop for £1, so I got it because it's been on my list for a while. I would like to get to it because I'm trying to make sure that all the books that I buy this year I'm getting to within ideally 3 months, but there are still these 2 left from January, so obviously that's not been perfect as we are now in April. This I think this might be the second video I'm putting out in May actually, but we're in April so I'm filming this. It's the last week of April, so I do still need to get to that. Then we have The Sign of 4. Again, I saw this in a charity shop. I think it was about £2, and I've been slowly collecting all of the Sherlock Holmes books. I think this is the third or fourth book that you need to read if you're reading them in like the order recommended online. So I picked it up and it's in the same edition as 2 of the others that I've got, so I picked it up. I'm not going to read the back because it's like book 3 or 4, so don't want to potentially spoil myself. I don't think you can in this series. I think it is one that even though you like that is a reading order to read it in, you can technically read it in any order because it is just like this detective thing, but I don't know for sure. I don't want to risk spoiling myself, so that's that one. Then I picked up, I'm going to do these two together. This is Thunderhead and The Toll. Not sure which order these go in, but these are books 2 and 3, or 2 and 3 of the Scythe trilogy. I don't own Scythe, but I'm going to prioritise getting it. Basically, again, I was in a charity shop and these are £2 each. They're brand new, they've never been read, they're in absolutely perfect condition, and for £2 each for a trilogy I know I want to read, I picked them up. I know I shouldn't have. I set a rule that I wasn't going to do that this year. If I don't own the first book in a trilogy, I can't pick up the second. Don't own the second, I can't pick up the third, and so on and so forth. But I broke the rule. So I'll get to Scythe, and then I'll read that, and then I'll read these. Then I picked up System Cap. This is the 7th book, I think, in the Murderbot Diaries series. I have not read this yet, but this is officially on my May TBR. It came up in the Snakes and Ladders game. I'll link it up there. And I'm really, really excited to get to it. I want to see what we're getting up to. I want to see what Murderbot has like got themselves into, and I think it's going to be a really, really fun time. So very excited for it. If you don't know about Murderbot, Murderbot is a sec unit who has hacked it system. I don't know, it's done something computery where it doesn't have to follow the rules that it should be following, and it just wants to like lie in bed and watch TV, but it has to pretend that it's still doing like this job and still protecting these people, because like if it's found out then it'll get like decommissioned or something. And you just follow along, and every book's a new adventure. Every book introduces us to different people, and we have a different thing that's like the priority to do and see, and I've had so much fun with every single book in this series. Yeah, it's great, and I can't wait to read the latest edition. Then I got Abortion Beyond the Law. This just sounded really, really interesting, and I feel like abortion is something that you only really know in terms of your own country. I feel like in the UK we have like the NHS, we have a healthcare system. Like if you live in the UK, you know the healthcare system in this country, but I don't know like anything elsewhere in the world, and this sounded very interesting. I'm just going to read the back because I don't know how better to tell you what's in this. It's a non-fiction, and it says the feminists across Latin America, Africa and Europe making self-managed abortion available to all, and the transnational movement they have built along the way. Drawing on the years of research with activists around the world, sociologist Naomi Brain describes the strategies, politics and tactics of direct action. Feminists bringing abortion pills, information and support to people seeking to end unwanted pregnancies, whether providing misoprostol in the metro stations of Santiago, Chile, combating the legal structures of Bolsonaro's Brazil, or navigating the NGO-dominated landscape of Kenya and Nigeria. Feminist activists are making safe, accessible abortion care available against the odds. Even more important, these women are building a robust transnational feminist network, tools developed in the Golden Safe, hotlines, practices of accompaniment and peer-to-peer care, and scientific information are now being shared with activists in Europe and North America, building a new model for international feminist solidarity. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be informational. I think it's going to be informative, and I think I'm going to learn a lot. So yeah, I really can't wait to get to this one. I just need to prioritise it. I'm not very good at prioritising non-fiction, which brings us nicely along to, I also picked up Unwell Women. This is all about medicine, both in current day but also in the past, and the medical world for women, which, having, you know, been living in it, not great now. I assume it was even worse in the past. So yeah, this is basically just going over misunderstandings, mystification and misdiagnosis of women's illness, and I don't know if it does much more than that, to be honest, because I know it is more like looking at the histories and how things have moved throughout time, but I think it's going to be interesting and I think I'm going to learn a lot. Another one that I'm excited to get to, but it's a non-fiction. I have brought a few non-fiction this year, but I'm getting better at reading them. So this is called Hags, and it's the demonisation of middle-aged women, which I have such an interest in because I personally, in like my world and what I've lived in, I've not really seen it, but like just because I've not seen it doesn't mean I'm not aware it's a thing, right? Like I see online this anti-aging culture and all this, and it's like I'd be quite happy to, you know, in 10 years have smile lines. Like that just means I've lived a happy life. Like I don't understand it, I don't get it, I don't see it in my like real world, but definitely in the online world it sneaks in there every so often, and I'm aware that it's a much more prevalent thing for a lot of women. What is it about women and their 40s and beyond that seem to enrage almost everyone? In the last few years, middle-aged women have found themselves talked and written about as morally inferior beings, the face of bigotry, entitlement and selfishness, to be ignored, pitied or abused. In Hags, Victoria Smith asks why these women are treated with such active disdain, exploring the very specific reasons why this type of misogyny is so very no. I want to read this at some point. I feel like it's going to make me very angry. I'm going to make sure I'm in like a very happy, healthy headspace when I do pick this one up, because I feel like it's going to enrage me. Then on a lighter note, I also picked up Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. This is the third book in the Bright Falls series, and it's also one of the books that is on my May TBR, so very excited to get to the third and final book in this series and see the final person of the friendship group have their romantic journey. Then I'm excited by this one. Didn't have internet in the charity shop, didn't check it up. It's got very bad ratings, not sure if I'm actually going to enjoy it, but this is The Lock-In. It was £2.50 in the charity shop. It's a stunning cover, already looks quite stunning, and then you take the dust jacket off and it's like a fully decorated like hardcover underneath the dust jacket, and it kind of got me. I don't know if I'm gonna like it. It's about, honestly, people who don't seem to be able to advocate for themselves. So yeah, I think I'm gonna find this very annoying, to be quite honest. But I didn't have internet in the charity shop, so rather than being sensible and not getting it, I didn't. Basically, there's a massive flood in this house, and these roommates have to come together to like figure out what's going on with the flood. Then I also picked up The Satsuma Complex by Bob Mortimer. To be honest, I am just willing to give this a go. Again, £2.50 in the charity shop. I don't know what to expect from it. I've seen Bob Mortimer on like a few like comedy shows. I don't love comedy, so I don't know, but like it's always come across very good. And to be honest, I gave Richard Osman's book a chance, and now that's my favourite mystery series ever, so why would I not try Bob Mortimer's? So yeah, that's as much thought as I've put into it. I don't know what this is about at all. So this one is Into the Green by Charles D. Lint. Basically, I would like to complete the r/fantasy bingo board for 2024. It runs from April 2024 to March 2025. I am considering making a video on like my TBR for the board and what I'd recommend and different stuff. If you'd like to see it, like let me know in the comments, because I feel like I didn't think about making a video quick enough and I've kind of missed the boat. Everyone made their videos at the very start of April. If you'd still like to see it, let me know. But yeah, one of the squares on the bingo board for this year is a bard, and the hard mode is that the character must explicitly be called the bard. And then I went into a charity shop and found this for 75p, and on the back this person is described and said harping she knew was 1/3 of the bard's spells. And it looks like our main character is going to be explicitly called a bard, or there will be an explicit bard character they're learning from or something like that. So I picked it up. I was like, I don't have any other books that I know would work for this, let's get it. That's all I really know. It's quite classic fantasy, I think. It's been out quite a few years. Does it have a date in it? 1993. So not that classic, but before I was born, so yeah, an older fantasy. Let's move on. Our last non-fiction for the haul is Feminism. This is also one of those Tate collection books, similar to the gender one that I explained. And again, yeah, I think that I haven't read this one yet. Obviously, it's in the unread pile, but I think this is going to be looking at art through the lens of feminism. I'm really excited to read it. It really doesn't tell you anything about the book on the back, it just tells you about the series in general and what they're doing. In the very front it says, feminism is a powerful new interpretation of British art from an intersectional feminist perspective from one of Britain's greatest writers. I'm intrigued, I want to give it a go. I imagine I'll get to this one quite soon. It's about 50 pages I think, yeah, so excited. Hopefully I'll get to it soon. Then the final book that I've picked up is The Final Strike. This is also by Sarah L. Arifi, which is the same author as Feybound. As I said, really like the writing style. And I was in a Waterstones and this one was half price because there's like a tiny bit of damage on the cover. It does need fixing, like I will need to tape the hole up. I don't know if it's picking up on camera, there's like a big hole. So I will need to tape it up, but for half price I was like, I'll get it. I don't mind having to do that. So I don't know much about this, but it is the debut book from the author, and this is book 1 of their first trilogy, which I believe is getting complete this year. So if I like it, I can read the entire trilogy. Obviously I'm not expecting it to be as good as Feybound because it is the debut, but with how much I enjoyed Feybound, I feel like the same similar context things will be in here. So yeah, from the back I know the Empire rules by blood. Red is the blood of the elite, of magic, of control. They are the embers. Blue is the blood of the poor, of workers, of the resistance. They are dusters. Clear is the blood of servants, of the crushed, of the invisible. They are ghostings. But that rule is about to come to an end. I'm intrigued. It kind of sounds like it could be an adult version of Red Queen, like the Red Queen series that I read when I was younger. So yeah, I'm really intrigued and excited. And those are all the books that I brought during the first 4 months of 2024. I really do hope that you enjoyed this haul. I now need to try and figure out how to hold all these to get a thumbnail, so that's going to be fun. But yeah, do give the video a like if you liked it. Subscribe down below if you'd like to see more content like this. Let me know how many books you've ended up getting to. I think there are 24 total, including the one pre-order I've got. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.